I've got some bad news about visiting all the national parks in one go. So we just got to Congaree National Park and I was not that excited for this one, but it is beautiful over here. What do you think, Micah?
It is really pretty. I love all of the really tall trees.
So there's definitely some national parks that are a lot more well-known, famous, sought after than others. Congaree isn't on that list. It's definitely one of those fly under the radar kind of national parks where you don't really hear about it. It's not like the Grand Canyon or Yosemite or something like that.
Congaree National Park, we are walking amongst a floodplain forest. If you look around, that's exactly what it looks like.
Oh, my foot just wants to sink. I'm coming back. Man, I almost got lost. We were originally planning on doing some big, long 10, 15 mile hikes through this here forest. However, these are my shoes. Those are Micah's shoes. And you really need waterproof mud boots in order to get through any of these hikes because it is so swampy, especially with all the recent rain.
So as disgusting as it might be, that mud is actually 8 feet deep and it filters water, then it turns the pollutants that it traps into harmless compounds. So it does a great deal of good here in the forest.
I just know I'm glad I didn't get stuck in that 8 feet deep mud when I was venturing out there. Although Micah maybe wanted me to.
No,
who knows?
I did not.
She could have been planning this all along. I just kind of said that really loud and my voice echoed throughout the forest. But yeah, guys, I mean, check this out. It is just so peaceful. I would say Micah and I are usually not big fans of these kind of man-made hikes that they have right here. They seem really just like walks.
But with all the swampiness around us, we're really grateful that our feet are dry and clean.
One of what I think is the craziest things about this forest is all of these trees that are just crumpled over and just uprooted entirely because of the flooding, and they fall over and they just can't survive. Great example right there. Big old tree, it's gone, completely fallen, rotted out.
So here's the bad thing about visiting all of the national parks in one year is you don't get to see them all in their prime. While there aren't any mosquitoes to pester us, there also aren't any leaves on the trees. It may not be the most perfect time to visit.
Yeah, that is definitely the downside of visiting these national parks just one after the other, because it just rained and we don't really have time to just wait for the rain to all dry up so we can go on the other cool hikes. We just have to make the most of it and still see what's here. Later on in life, we can come during another season when it's a bit more dry and we can try those other hikes.
So the moss here on this tree indicates the level of the last flood that happened here. So you can see this place gets pretty wet sometimes.
To showcase exactly what we were talking about, bridge out, trail closed. There's a couple of these trails that are just closed entirely because of all the flooding and the raining and all that kind of stuff. So should you visit Congaree during the winter? I think yes. I think it's still worth visiting 100% because it's beauty in its own respect. Even if there's not all the leaves that Micah's missing out on, it's still very nice. It's extremely peaceful.
Yeah, it is super peaceful. Like I've said before, being out in nature anywhere at any time is always going to be good for your soul, and you don't have to deal with mosquitoes, so there's a plus.
Micah may have been not so truthful to everybody because look at what we found. Some leaves. She's trying to say all these trees don't have leaves. What do you have to say for yourself?
They're really pretty leaves.
This tree is a great example of what happens in these flooded forests. Look, it is actually broken. It's just held up by this other tree it fell on, but it snapped completely.
But that's the value of a good friend. When your friend snaps, just be strong and hold him up.
Sounds like someone's learning from my good joking skills. Now that, you guys, that is one huge fallen tree. Definitely the quietest place we've had an apple or any sort of a meal in the last couple of weeks.
So it's crazy because those palm-looking trees seem so tropical, but they're actually called dwarf palmettos, and they are some of the hardiest palms because they can actually withstand freezing temperatures. A real trail with dirt underneath my feet.
It is quite nice to be on a trail that's not man-made. You feel more like you're actually out in nature, despite the visitor center that's just viewing distance away. So the reason that this place is all dry is because this is actually higher elevated than the rest of the park. And so obviously, since there's more elevation, there's less standing water, which is really nice because you can actually get out in some of this beautiful nature that's just hanging out right here, ready to be explored. And as Russell always says, adventures out there. That's what he says. This is like the girl version of Russell. Sometimes I call her Russette, my little russet potato. This is the coolest, everybody. This right here is a tree that was completely knocked down. Look at it, this is all the roots. Look at those. That's just crazy to me. So huge, I hope I don't get stuck in the mud. But it's just like, the scale of it is crazy. Look at it, it's just like, it's huge. It's crazy how powerful the wind can be, or the tornadoes, or whatever it was that ended up knocking it over. Or maybe it was just old, who knows.
So, should you visit Congaree National Park in the wintertime? What do you think?
I would say definitely yes. It might be prettier when you come in the springtime, but I think regardless, it's still very nice. It's super peaceful. If you want like a nice meditation time or time to just hang out and rediscover yourself or, you know, whatever, Congaree, I think, regardless of the time, is a great place to be.
Absolutely. So come check it out.